Hi guys, and welcome back to Petrolhead Podcasts. The all-new 2023 Nissan Z has been hotly anticipated by Z fans for nearly a decade now, and is the 7th generation of this iconic Japanese sports car series that first launched in 1969. With such a cult following around the world, it seems inevitable that comparisons will be drawn with the new Z's predecessors to see if it lives up with the name. But beyond that, the new Z also has to compete with another recent revival of a Japanese sports car in the A90 generation Toyota GR Supra. Like the Nissan, the Toyota also came back with a new generation after a lengthy gap since the last model, and also like the Nissan, the Supra name also has royalty status among Japanese sports car fans. But unlike the Nissan, which carries over the basic architecture of the outgoing Nissan-designed 370Z for the new Z, the Supra has been jointly developed with BMW and shares its platform, electronics and engine with the current generation BMW Z4, which has led to outcry among purists that the new Supra is not a true JDM sports car. So which is the better approach to reviving a Japanese sports car nameplate? And which is the better vehicle between the Nissan Z and the Toyota GR Supra? Join me as I go through an in-depth comparison to give you the answer. But before I proceed, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel to be the first to see more amazing content like this in the future. First of all, looking at exterior designs, the new Nissan Z is very much an evolution of previous Z cars. The long hood, cab backward design and the wide body and short body length proportions are immediately familiar to Z fans in a good way. I like the front end of the car with the wide squared off grille and the double C-shaped headlights. I also like how clean the design up front is, with no unnecessary fins, openings and excessive sculpturing. On the side, the profile is perhaps a bit too similar to the 370Z, down to the placement and shape of the door handles and the window line, and I think there could have been more differentiation of the new car. The way the car strongly curves out just below the window line towards the wheel arches looks impressive though, and a neat touch. Round back, I love the new tail lights that are a modern interpretation of the ones on the iconic 300ZX from the 90s and the big rear diffuser. Overall, I think the Z is a good looking car with some iconic styling cues, but I am a little disappointed that the overall profile is too similar to the 370Z, which itself was very similar to the 350Z. In contrast, the A90 Toyota GR Supra looks nothing like the previous A80 generation car, instead being heavily influenced by the Toyota FT1 concept that debuted back in 2014. The car has an aggressive Formula 1 style nose, flanked by 3 huge air intakes and slender headlamps up front, which looks very stylish and sporty. It too has a very cab backward design like the new Z and Supras of old, and the wraparound windshield design evokes the iconic Toyota 2000 GT. On the side, the styling is a bit busy, even if the general shape of the car looks fantastic. The side intake looks bolted on and doesn't flow well with the rest of the car's lines, and the door handles look slightly out of place and don't match the design of the car well enough. Round back, the car's taillights and integrated spoiler look very sophisticated, and the Formula 1 style diffuser with the big tailpipes looks menacing. Overall though, while the Supra is a great looking car and a joy to behold, the side profile ruins it somewhat and the car as a whole looks a bit anonymous compared to the previous Supra generations, which is a shame. All things considered, the new Z does a better job of respecting and showcasing the legacy of its predecessors, but is a bit too similar in concept to the last generation, while the Supra is better at innovating and forward-thinking design, but has little iconic styling elements carried over. The winner in terms of styling, in my opinion, is the new Nissan Z, as the Supra does not do as good of a job of honoring its heritage, and some elements of the car's side profile are not cohesive. In terms of interiors, the new Nissan Z is a big step up from the 370Z, and nice touches include a fully digital instrument cluster for the first time, and a new steering wheel inspired by the R32 GTR. The legendary 3 gauges on top of the dashboard has been carried over and contributes to a special feeling in the cabin. However, the car still persists with the traditional handbrake. The door handles, window controls, and climate control surfaces look cheap, and the infotainment is not as advanced as the system in the Supra. The seats also look poorly padded and finished compared to the Supras. Overall, the new Z's interior has some attractive elements, but still shows its old 370Z bones a bit too much, and does not feel premium enough for its price. The A90 Toyota Supra has a much more premium interior, with a lovely floating infotainment system running a reskinned version of BMW's iDrive system. The instrument cluster has better graphics than the Z's as well, and in general the sense of quality about the touchpoints are better. The seats in the Supra are more impressive, with better bolstering, real metal accents and nice contrasting stitching. The overall design of the Supra's interior is more modern as well. I especially like the line that runs between the center air vents and extends across to the passenger door. The car has more up-to-date features like an electronic handbrake, wireless charging, electronic shifter and dual-zone climate control that makes it feel more fit for today's needs. However, the car's interior suffers from being too similar to the BMW Z4 on which it is based. The steering wheel design, the infotainment, the rotary dial to control the infotainment, the shifter, and the row of buttons below the air vents for adjusting the volume and presets are exactly the same as what you will find in various other BMWs, and makes the car again lose identity and the sense of occasion that buyers want. Overall, the Supra has an up-to-date interior with great quality and technology, but it does not have enough Toyota DNA in it. The better interior between the two remains the Toyota's though, as the Nissan is too basic and shares too much with the 370Z and prior models, while the Toyota does a better job at staying up to date with the latest in-car developments, even though it sadly is too similar to the BMW Z4. Moving on to performance, and the new Nissan Z has a twin-turbocharged 3-liter V6 engine, producing 400 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque, which equates to 298 kilowatts and 475 newton meters. It has a choice of either a 6-speed manual or a 9-speed automatic transmission, both of which have launch control. Acceleration times have not been released yet, but an Infiniti Q60 Red Sport 400 with the same engine manages around 4.5 seconds to 60 mph. With the new Z being shorter and much lighter than the Infiniti, we can expect it to accelerate even faster to 60. There's available a limited slip differential, 14-inch front and 13.8-inch rear brakes, and mono-tube shock absorbers. Electric power steering makes its debut in the Z, and revised geometry, suspension tuning, and increased rigidity compared to the 370Z promise to deliver better ride and handling. We don't know for sure how the Z drives yet, but past Zs have been known to provide a lot of driving pleasure owing to their high revving engines, short wheelbase, and rear-wheel drive architecture. On the other hand, the Toyota GR Supra has a BMW-sourced turbocharged 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine with 382 horsepower and 368 pound-feet of torque, which translates to 285 kilowatts and 500 newton meters. The car accelerates to 60 mph in 3.9 seconds and onto a top speed of 155 mph or 250 kmh. The Supra is mated exclusively to a ZF-sourced 8-speed automatic transmission. The car is based on the BMW CLAR structure and has adaptive variable suspension, an electronically controlled rear differential, Brembo brakes that measure 13.7 inches front and 13.6 rear, strut tower braces in the engine bay, and hollow front and rear stabilizer bars. The car also has electric power steering. The Supra is a fun car to drive fast, with a tail-happy character when provoked, and in general is a great driver's car, provided the driver has the skill and precision to exploit it. The car is planted and balanced, especially after the 2021 upgrades, and the steering is precise and accurate, although the ride is on the firm side. The engine is also magnificent and has a smooth build-up in revs and a great sound, while the transmission shifts quickly and precisely. Overall, it is hard to come to a definitive verdict as we do not know how the new Z drives, but just comparing the on-paper performance statistics, the cars are very evenly matched in terms of power, acceleration, and chassis technologies, and so we will call this round a draw. In conclusion, all things considered, the winner of this shootout is the new Nissan Z. The car is just as powerful as the Supra and has similar levels of performance-related features. It also looks better and does a better job of preserving the legacy of past generations. However, it is a shame that the car is still based on the 370Z, and as a result, there are a lot of carryover parts and the interior is not as modern or sophisticated as the Supra. The Supra looks great inside and out and has a high-quality interior and strong performance from its BMW-derived engine, but there are just too many BMW elements about the car, especially in terms of its mechanicals and interior, that make it lose the specialness associated with the Supra badge, and as a result, it does not feel enough like a Japanese sports car. As a result, it has to concede the victory to the purer, more authentic 2023 Nissan Z. What do you guys think of this conclusion, and what are your thoughts on these two reborn Japanese sports cars? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, please like and subscribe to my channel to be the first to see more amazing content like this in the future. Cheers!